All right, welcome back. I am going to be working more on my Atari 2600 emulator here. Last time we did some stuff. Did a little bit of refactoring. Oh yeah, we refactored the timer. Do I have anything? Oh man, I sort of left us in an interesting spot. Let me clean this up. Do it on stream. Do it live. Because I left some stuff here to. So this is all necessary. We changed how the memory map works. This is the beginning of the riot, so we'll actually keep that. It's all the same stuff. Yeah. Oh, that's the one I wanted to change back there. Okay. So, where was that? That was in timer world. We're actually running into this problem. I need to look into it at some point, but I don't need to worry about it right now. Hold on, I can just do it. To do fix this thing I didn't expect where uh, actual or where instructions seem to take longer than they should. Cool. Okay. Let me make sure my microphone's at a good level while I'm going. It's probably off. No, it's not off. Okay, I think it looks like it's reaching a pretty good level, not too loud. Hopefully, it won't peak out for you. Hey, Perkin J, how's it going? That is a lot. That is a lot of emojis. Oh, interesting. I can see what they are. Toggle bit rate. Wow, thugs wiggle. That's really impressive. Thanks for showing up. I was just cleaning up some stuff I did last time, and then I was going to move on to implementing some of these sort of timers. I'll talk about what those are as soon as I'm done committing all this stuff. I left things in a bit of a mess, like I tend to do. Thanks. Uh, oh yeah, sure. How much do you know about the Atari 2600? Okay. So basically, what's going on? I'll actually pull up these super sweet docs here. Let's see if I can find it. I think it's page 12. So I actually found out somebody reprinted this as a book. What do you mean diverse projects? 2600 is a nice brand. That might be a joke that I'm not getting, or I'm just not understanding what you're talking about. Please do explain. Um, oh yeah, it's more than 12. It's like here. Yeah, so there's a timer on this thing. It's on the in this book. It's called, which is written in 1979. It's called the PIA chip, um, and uh, and it's sort of commonly now called the riot, which I guess is RAM input, output, and timing. So I'm about to do the. I've already got the RAM part of that sort of set up, although probably needs to move into this chip. Right now, I'm working on the timing. Um, so there are four addresses that you write a number to, and then basically this explains it pretty well. For example, if we write the value 100 to timer 6 TIM64T, which is the hex address 296, the timer would. Oh, right. I didn't even remember that. Um, I used to go look at that and not fully understand what I was reading at the like local sort of indie bookstore years and years ago. Yeah, I'm unsure. The Atari had like a number of names. The Atari 2600, the Atari video VCS video, uh, VHC something, I don't know. And it was also called the Stella Project, which is why certain emulators are called Stella, and why I'm naming my. Oh, nice. Okay, so apparently it's just like a widely used sort of number. I'd be interested in that. Um, so yeah, so basically you uh, whichever address you hit, it sets a timer and it counts down um, depending on which one you set. It's a global timer, so you can't have more than one going. Um, but as you can see, like if you hit 296, which is 64 clocks per interval, it'll be 6400 microprocessor machine cycles, which is the 6502 chip machine cycles. And then basically when it reaches zero, you're out of time. And then it has some special behavior if you go past zero, where it counts by clock cycles no matter which timer you set. So I think what I'm going to do is test out this timing behavior separately, and then sort of stick it into um, the project. So let's see. So we've got our memory map here. Everything's kind of not where it's going to end up being. I won't need this eventually. Deciding whether to pull it out now. I'm not going to, but you can see we got to the point where we were actually trying to set the 64 clock timer. Yeah, so why don't we... I don't have any tests. No, I do have some tests. Those need to be rethought. Actually, to make testing easier, we're going to move this all into a different folder. So the tests don't have to mix together too much. Okay, so we'll go to chip and we'll do riot.rs. Okay. It's saying it's not included in the module tree, so I'll go down to the main mod here. Thing. File not found, which is expected. So now the file's found. Then we're going to pull over our... So I've been using Rust on and off for about 5 years, mostly off. I built one really big project for my last company in it. It was actually like there's a Slack bot. I have it somewhere in my, I think it might not be in my GitHub that I include on the stream, but I can add it there. It's like a Slack bot that basically um, like integrates GitHub and Slack and sort of updates a Slack channel with pull requests, and like if they're stale, it'll repost them, and it like knows whether they've been reviewed and stuff like that, and can sort of like list out ones that are stale and all that. So that was a big project. I will say that it was like not very rusty. I had to learn a lot about the type system because like I was dealing with like asynchronous stuff before the async await stuff happened, and I was like using the old like the futures crate, and I had to like figure out how to like move values around, which is a pain. In fact, in some ways, an emulator is easier because everything is copy, right? All these numbers are copy. They're just as cheap to move somewhere as that, or like to copy somewhere as they are to like send a pointer. So I'm not like worried too much about borrowing and stuff like that. Oh yeah, about 5 years on and off, but mostly off. Cool. So I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm not like I said, mostly off uh because I don't use it for work primarily. So it's like it's been hit or miss. So I'm definitely like both rusty and like not like a 5 year like veteran. Oh yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I take a little bit of time a couple days a week to do some personal development, which is streaming. So I know the feeling about being at work. I turn Togglebit on a lot, and he was gone today, and just sort of it's like having a coworker essentially. So let's see. Thank you, helpful thing. Similar name exists. The module Riot Super. Oh yeah, Riot. Very helpful. So I think that actually kind of I'll have to deal with the read stuff. Right, this is read. No, that's setting. Oh, it's doing that, right? Okay. Okay, cool. I'll have to do this. Needs real implementation. Okay, I have a to do there for me. Uh, those are tests I don't want. Okay. So I have the impl of set. Okay, all right, cool. So then I'm gonna be able to test this pretty easily. So I'll do. Yeah, what do you do? What do you do for work? Like, what kind of programming are you doing on a daily basis? For 100 subs toggle bits. Wow. Yeah, I've seen you in there. I've given a couple gift subs, but 100 is really impressive. Uh, oh, sure. I will be here. Maybe a little less often than Toggle Bit. I don't know how he gets so much time to stream. I wish I could stream work. That would make you're a blockchain architect. What is okay? So I know the blockchain. I know that you can program for the blockchain. What does it mean to be an architect? Huh. Okay. Okay. So we're looking at timers. So since we're working on this 64-bit timer, um, test 64. Might just kind of do all the tests in one. It's not really good practice, but I'm like trying to think of better ways to sort of deal with this. To rebrand a fork of Moonbeam and Pogo. I am so out of the blockchain crypto world. I like am just not up to what's going on there, but that's cool. I'm glad there's people out there doing new and interesting stuff while I'm sitting here recreating 40-year-old game consoles. um, so we're gonna say let right. If I'm remembering correctly, this actually will new up an instance of it. Yeah, we need to use super. So we're gonna want to do. Yeah, we'll eventually need to actually new something medium and long term. Yeah, that's a good. Oh, yeah, that's a good sort of skill set to have that I don't think makes sense. So you're just like sort of went with growth and then that's where blockchain is. Okay, cool. Um, we're gonna do. So we'll do 0 and 6 from now, although index, it's going to want to use, I think it'll work. I think it'll just convert. Oh, nice. So yeah, I know that there's like a lot of activity with Rust in the blockchain. So, um, that's super interesting. I'll need to look into those because it's like a whole section, like maybe one of the larger sort of pieces of like, yeah, some of the larger like Rust open source libraries that or projects that are sort of in that sector, but I'm unaware of. Okay, and we're gonna set a value. Let's just do what the book said and say 100. Actually, it said something like, if the value 100, yeah, but we need 100 in, no, that's fine. We can do it in decimal and switch it to hex later. Need this to be, I'm mapping my key that I usually do to run cargo test. Which finishes fine. I may need to see if there's a way to do cargo tests. If it says anything about short for cargo test, running tests, options. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can run just a specific test I'm interested in. I'm sure I can, but it's actually fine because I'll be able to. I'll just break what I need to. Right. So then I should be able to say. Yeah. So I'm going to test the 64-bit timer. So a few things happen. Basically, you set this address with a number, and it starts counting down when you when it when a clock or yeah. What am I thinking? When a clock cycle ticks, it's in sync with the main CPU. So every time the main CPU ticks, it'll tick. So we actually want. So what we're going to do for these tests is we're going to manually sort of tick these off, and I think we're just going to do it a sort of dumb way where we just do right that tick. Although we could do like a number. We might do a number because I'm not actually doing that with the CPU. I'm like incrementing the CPU by a little bit because all instructions are either 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 cycles. I think 6 is the longest cycles long. All right, man. See you later. Cool. Yeah. So on the CPU, I'm just sort of incrementing by this number. So maybe I'll actually have it take a number. So have it. There is no tick found, but first we're going to check. Yeah, okay, so first we're going to check that. So we're going to read the timer, and the timer is read at a very specific place that we can take a look at. That's a TIA. It's at this 284, so I think that's gonna. There's a bunch of mirrors of that, but I think I'm not gonna let the riot mirror that. I think it's gonna be. Let me think about that. take a look at this mirrored memory. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to convert somewhere outside. Yeah, okay, so 284, disable time interrupt and read. Okay, reading the timer. Enable timer interrupt and read timer. 284. So it doesn't actually say anything about 28C in the. I'm gonna go by this manual. Sorry, just making. Oh, there goes the music. I'm guessing somebody's watching it somewhere else. So let's do this. 1 second. I need my own Spotify account. Cool. Hold on 1 second while I fix this. Make sure I'm on. Okay, yeah, that has been no fun. Fortunately, I can cut that all out of the. Well, I won't cut it out of the VOD, but I'll cut it all out of the YouTube. That's loud. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. All right, yeah. So I'm working on this Atari 2600 thing, and we're getting to the point where we have timers. I'm getting a little confused by some of the documentation. So I think I may need to skip over that for now. Like, for instance, if I look at timers, this is sort of the like programmer guide for the thing. I may need to dig into like actual like sort of technical specs at some point rather than programming guides. But it only talks about reading from 284. But then there's like some like different like timer reads, one that enables and disables a timer interrupt. Let's see if there's anything about interrupt in here, but I can't find it in here anywhere. Interrupt. If I can spell it right. So it's like not in the original documentation at all. So I think I'm going to just leave it alone for a minute and just work on what we know is true. So at hex address 284, there is a that's where you sort of read the timer. We are like setting a timer. There's different ones. The one that we're doing is the 64 clock cycle timer. So it's 64 it ticks once for every 64 clock cycles. So in this case, it should tick 6,400 times before it reaches 0. So we're just sort of testing this in isolation first because there's a kind of funky behavior here. So right now I'm just writing a test, and I want to be able to like just like I'm just gonna do get for now because implementing index has like really bitten me a couple times. So it's saying there's no get, so we'll implement get. It takes a self and an index as a U16. And so this is going to return something. Actually, it doesn't need to return something. It just needs to return CU8. It's saying it doesn't do that, which is fine. I'll just return a 0 for now. Actually, just 0 for now. Functions never used, that's fine. And then I expect this to give me 100 since I haven't ticked down the clock at all. So that should fail. Not a function. It's not a function because it's macro. Yep, saying 0 is not equal to 100, which is correct, right? So we need to actually have some internal state to this thing. Ew. Let's say timer. We'll call it that for now. That's fine. It's a 1-byte timer. Yeah, I removed that semicolon and then it once. We'll just see if we can get away with implementing default. What are we doing here? Not remember the invocation to get derive. Wants me to remove that semicolon. Okay, cool. So then we can just make a default one. I think default is controversial. I don't know. I don't fully understand the controversy. So please let me know if there is some reason that I shouldn't be using that. But we'll just return self.timer, which is copy, so it shouldn't complain. What is it saying? I have a something using it, so I need to fix that for it to compile. Great. So this will need to set self.timer. There's going to be more to it than this, but for now we just set it to the value. What doesn't it like about this? We are setting it with that. Oh, double equals. Cool. All right, so test pass. So we're done implementing this. No, I'm just kidding. So what we want to see is that if we tick this right, let's give it a number. Let's say 3. Says there's no method tick, which is exactly right. So we'll need to mute self. No other arguments. It won't return anything. This is basically just going to... Oh, yeah, it does have an argument. Cycles. That can be a use size. And basically we're going to do something here. Doesn't matter for now, because the test will drive it out. Test passing. Okay, so if we tick by 3, then we should assert that the timer... Actually, it's 64. So if we tick by 63... Yo, what's up, man? How's it going? How'd you find me? Me and my viewer. Yeah, how's Fiona doing? Or sorry, I shouldn't use her real name. Yeah, when we were doing um nobody can track her to you, but yeah, when we were playing Heroes of the Storm together, and we were in the I think we did some streaming when we were in that league. Yeah, we're in some like the very bottom of the barrel league. I think Ian was actually good enough. Chair league. I feel like Ian, you were good enough that you like could have honestly been on a team that like was higher up, like significantly higher up in that. And so is Brian, but like I was just like I think one game I got like a really good like area of effect hit on somebody, and that was like the only thing I did. Yeah, yeah, it was a fun game. Um, yeah, so how is the kiddo? Are you working, or are you like doing the halftime thing, bud? Yeah, so if you couldn't tell by the stream, I'm building a Atari 2600 emulator because I want to. I don't know. Right. Yeah. Um, no, I know that. I know that feeling of working. I started doing it because I watched a couple other sort of code streamers and thought it was really fun to some I paid like really close attention to, like this guy named Soding, who like is implementing his own like stack based language, just like crazy stuff. And then other people I just like sort of got in to just hang out in their chat while I was working, and then like coming over and saying something stupid usually. So basically, I'm implementing a timer right now, and this is one that counts down once for every 64 clock cycles. So Yeah, no, exactly. I'd like to invite you to my mob programming session. Um, so I actually should be at 99 here. So every 64 clock cycles, it's supposed to count down, which is pretty easy to do, but this should actually fail right here. Yeah, it says should. It's actually 100, but it's 99. So then I think to implement this should be pretty straightforward. So for every might be escaping me now, but so let's see if so I'm gonna need to keep track of the like cycles that have gone over, like that have happened, and if they roll over. I'm sure there's some clever way to do this, but I'm not gonna be clever. Because I always bite my or mess myself up when I try and be clever. So trying to think how big. I'll just have it be U size for now. Trying to think how big this needs to be because it could be up to 1024, which is more than you can. I could do it in U16. Not super worried about size. Okay, and um, then so I need to keep track of the number of cycles that have happened, and then I need to keep track of the width or something. It's not called the width, but what do they call it here? Page 12. We'll just call it something. Yeah, we'll just call it clocks or clocks. This could be up to 1024. I'll just do it to U size again. Memory is cheap. All right. So we're gonna say self dot clocks. So we're gonna set the clocks to 0 whenever somebody sets this timer, and then we're going to set the clocks per interval to 64 in this case. So I think a basic implementation of this is if I'll call this clocks. There you go. Yeah, I mean, so, but I'm sitting, in this case, I'm sitting it forward by 837 nanoseconds. So I don't know if that, I don't know what kind of fidelity we did it to a few weeks ago, but let's see. So let's see. If clocks. So if we add and then that's greater than uh, self dot clocks per interval. We're gonna. There's some edge cases to think about here, but I won't worry about them yet. Although I will need to eventually, right? There's some like, what if I send in enough clocks that it's like multiple? I'll test that out later. So if it's greater than that, then we're going to decrement the timer. And then we need to set self.clocks to the overflow of that. Right, so we need to set to whatever the difference is. I could be very wrong here. Otherwise, we will just I realize this is like a legitimate 80s song that's playing right now. But it also happens to be like one of the songs on the DDR game I like played non-stop in my early 20s. So it's like bringing back some like fond and traumatic memories, I guess we could say, both at the same time. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Of course. Thank you, Rust. Thank you, probably Clippy, for telling me how to do basic math. I do appreciate it. What did I do wrong here? Did I actually call it clock per interval? I did. Seems like a thing I'd do is misspell the same thing the same way in every place. So we'll drive debug and take a look at this thing. I need to figure out that about tests, so we're just going to panic it. Okay, that looks right. That actually looks right too. So that's what I need to know is once does it ever hit 64? Center per interval times 100 intervals. Yeah, okay. So at 64, it should say the same. As soon as it rolls over, it should be a little bit lower. So our timer's at 99. Clocks are back to 0. Everything is as it should be. Okay, cool. So the next thing that I think to think about is what happens if we tick by a lot. Because there are times when the television interface adapter, the TIA, is going to pause execution. So I don't know exactly how we're going to handle that yet, but I may not like call a tick function for each clock cycle. I may like just like gather all those up and like tick all those cycles at once. I think that'll probably be the best thing to do. So what we want to be able to test here is we want to be able to test that if we increment it by say 65 here. So that's the first test. It's just all at once. That should actually do the right thing, right? And that should bring us down to 98. Then I just quit Vim because I'm tired of it. You can never quit Vim until you accidentally quit it. Okay, so that works. But what if I do... I suspect this might work. So now, if I do 128, I should go past 2. So I should be down to 96 here. It's saying 97, right? So let me make sure I'm right here. So let me... panic out this thing right here. What time is it? Yeah, let's do it before we take 128. Make sure we have the right assumption going on here. Oh, interesting. Why are my clocks 0? Right. I am super confused here. That should not be what's happening. So let's see. If I'm here, clocks are 0.99. So if I go 66, it should hit this. Zero plus 66. So then am I doing some sort of like doing something bad here? This song gets weird. Sounds like clocks. Yeah, attempted to subtract with the overflow, which is sort of like what I was worried about. All right, so if one comes in, okay, so say I have 0 and I tick by 65. So I think I actually need this to be the other way around. Okay, that's right. Hey, Lord, how's it going? It's been a little while. I made some progress since the last time you were here. I don't know if you remember me implementing index mute, thinking I was really smart, being able to like index into like different parts of memory and stuff. Well, I came across the limitation of that not too long ago. Um, yeah, yeah, right. And what I realized is that I don't have like I'm not always setting a byte with like that index mute. Sometimes like I have to do an action based on it, and so I had to like yield a mutable integer, and there's like it just didn't make any sense to like try and figure out how to like take an action based on like yielding a mutable value. So I had to change all that to set. Fortunately, it wasn't too hard to like write a macro and change it all, but yeah. I think you may have even warned me. I may have to go back to my chat, and you're like, you could just write setters and getters for this, and I was like, yeah, but look at me being clever, and so why would my yeah? Because it's not okay. So I have my brain is failing at logic. I may have gotten up too early today, but we'll see if I can figure this out. So if I imagine that I have self.clocks is already 64, and I increment it by 1, and I send in a clock that's 1. So I need the new one to, I need it to be the, why can I not do this? This is not hard. Um, so this, I think, saying it's 63 and we're sending in 2. So I need the result to be 1. But I can't, yeah, 2 minus self.clocks is not what I want. I want, why does tick only set some fields? The name sounds like it would do the emulation. Yeah, we could call it something different. This is like all of the Riot and the 6502 chip and the TIA are all synchronized, right? So when we do like when we do the emulation, we're gonna tick the clock cycles, Yeah, it may be a bad name. But like basically the chip is going to like pass through however many clocks it's advancing into the riot so it can like update its timers and stuff like that. Um, so I actually need, I think I know what I need here. I think I need the width, so clocks per interval, which is 64 in this case, minus self dot clocks, which is 1 here. And then uh and then we have 2. So then it's 2 minus 1. So then it's whatever the overflow is. So if I'm like, yeah, so if I have something like crazy, like I have zero, let's say 0 clock cycles. Hey Brian, the old crew showing up. Apparently you guys are getting notifications. Yeah, Ian's here. So this is another. This was it was between Ian and Brian who was best on the Heroes of the Storm team, um, and me and me and well, mostly me was dragging everybody down, but we had like it was a fun game. I just feel like I'm not good at video games to begin with, and I'm not very like my hand-eye coordination's not good. MOBAs are just like not the. Yeah, how's it going? Are you doing any Rust these days? Yeah, I know you were working on like a synthesizer thing, right? How did that go? And say this is like 65. So if I do minus 0, I have 64, which is equal to. Yes, okay, I think I got it now. So what I want to do is say self dot clocks per interval minus self clocks. Uh, yeah, it went well, but it's on hold right now. I'm working on embedded software now in Python and wish it was in Rust. How are I? There's like tooling to do embedded software in basically every language. I am wondering how the Python tooling is for that. I know there's like usually there's like some subset that like can be compiled or something like that. So like I know that's how Ruby does all their pseudo embedded stuff is like there's like some subset of Ruby that you can like compile to machine code or whatever. But um yeah, Rust is yeah, fast. Python, it's fast. Oh, okay, all right. That makes sense. Lose your temper about what? About trying to do embedded programming with Python or me making fun of it being slow. I don't really care if it's slow. I actually really like working at. I actually kind of anyway. I like Python. I like most languages. I think the only one you can get me to complain about is PHP, and that might even be better these days than it used to be. So I want to do that. It's an epic fight happening in chat right now. It's not that epic. There's only 7 people here. Where was I? Minus whatever clocks we pass it. Got to spell everything right. Huh, okay. That actually sounds like not. That sounds not terrible. I still attempted to subtract with overflow. What could I have possibly done wrong? Clock should never be self-taught clock should never be more than this. Where's my stuff? It's the other way around. Man, my brain today. Fun. Glad I test drove this, because I would have written a lot of code and never figured out what was going on here. Time to subtract with overflow. Am I getting to a point where the timer... I do this first. Yeah, I do think I at hold on. To do needs more clocks. Just a reminder to myself. Okay, I actually got an assertion failed. It's really it's important stuff, man. It's like just hold on. For question. Why ping on Twitch anytime? Cool. 8 o'clock's not enough. Okay. So actually, okay. So what I'm expecting here. Let me add my panic back. Also, if anybody off the top of their head knows a better way to like get some debug output in tests, please let me know. I have found that only panicking, like eprint line, doesn't output anything in test runs. So I will look it up at some point. No capture. Toggle bit, how's it going? Yo. I have some like IRL friends who found me here on Twitch. Combines well with the debug macro. Okay, so if I do Stoapoke. Oh man, this is me again. Stoapokile. Stoapokile? Something. Thank you for the follow. Does it want... Why would it want me to... I'll look into that. Can I just pass... Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay, so, yeah, right. I moved it. That makes sense. It couldn't even compile it. Yep. Thank you. We'll take ownership. Got it. Well, this is some really good output. Okay. So I'm at clocks 3. I don't really expect that either. So I expect here, I expect my clocks to be 1 or 0 here. Yeah, no, yeah, I always think that things work like print line, but they don't. Oh, like it does. I should look at that macro at some point. Do you know if it's like if it's written in Rust macro language, or is it like some special thing? My clocks are at 1. Thank you, Toggle Bit. Stack Overflow. Yeah, I turned off Nightbot, so you're perfectly free to post links in chat. I had somebody come post a very strange YouTube video. Nothing like weird. It was just somebody like singing an opera. It's strange. Then he left. Twitch is a weird place. All right, I think I actually want to. I think what I was thinking before actually makes sense because I'm never going to get back to 0. Is that right? So when I increment the counter, say if I'm just taking up 1, I have 64, and I'm at 64 clocks. So that would be 0, but I have 1 clock, so I'm 1 minus 0. Yeah, so I actually think I need to set. I think what I was thinking of for. I think I don't want default here. All right, man. Later. It has to be pretty late for you. Florp Sylvania is like UTC time or something, or GMT. I don't know. That's my guess. It's not that late. Okay. It's late for me. I go to bed at like 9. Wait, this doesn't make any sense either. Oh man, I'm lost today. I may need to call it a stream pretty soon. I don't want to do this. What am I missing? Extremely has been. Wait. Yeah. She doesn't wake up at 5 a.m. often, but when she does, I really want to have been in bed by 9. Um, that's what happened this morning. I have something that I can't think through right now, so I may have to come back to. I have not made as much progress on this stream as I wanted to, but I think the idea is there. Basically, Or do I want the clock to start at 1? I have a funky off by 1 error. Basically, I want to tick 64 times and then decrement the timer. So what was happening? I think I'm actually. I think it might be as easy as this. Right, so now my tests are all wrong. But if I tick 64 times, I want it to have. So if I do it 63 times, I want it to be 100. If I do one more time, I want it to be 199. I have a debug in there that's making things. Then it's saying left 97, right 96. So I would expect to have a little left over here. Won't do the math in my head. So 2, yeah, that makes sense because at 64 it ticked over, and then there's 65 and 66. That makes sense to me. Right. The thing that's not making sense is if I then go up 128, it should tick over twice, right? Maybe I just did not implement that properly, which is probably what's happening. Oh yeah, we're already over 66 o'clock. So it's more like. So we have. Oh, brain, come on, man. You got this. I want to get this done before I go. So I have a number that if it's mod. So if I do. This. Okay, let me do my. So in this case, if I have 2 and I have 128, and then I have 128 minus 64 minus 2. Let me drink some water. I need to do some like leak code practice or something. Yeah. I don't actually need to do leak code practices. I think I'm thinking about this the wrong way, right? If clocks plus clocks. So I want to subtract whatever. I may actually just be able to like get rid of this branch altogether, but let's find out. So I want to subtract by the timer whatever this is divided by, and we're doing integer division because we've got integers. Cannot. What doesn't it like here? Usize, self.clocks, usize. Right, so if it's 64 or over, it'll be a 1. And then I need the mod of all this. So let's just take a let. Get that up here. This is the 80s, man. Oh yeah, I have it on the 80s music because this is my opening stream screen here. That was done using some website. Okay, so we're adding more clocks, so maybe we can take out this message for Ian. It's spelled total right. That'd be nice. Yeah, it's an auspicious day. It's the same day we added all of them in the first place, but um, I feel like we're getting rid of some clocks though too by adding more clocks. We're upping the clock quality, I think. All right, so so this will be whatever remains, right? So this is total clocks. Yeah, I just don't know why I got into that. Don't need to as anything because it's already usize. I can get rid of this. I did it. Oh, I did it. Remembering inner division and modulo division, I have conquered the beast. Yeah, so this is basically how clocks are going to work. And so when you read them, I don't need to debug that anymore. Math, yeah, no, I just like I was doing the TDD like incremental thing, and I was like, I just need to increment the timer by 1, and then I was like, then I need to subtract 64. Hey, man. Thanks for the follow, Karakong. I thought you were already following me, but, every bit helps. Um, was that like my reward for getting this right? It's a follow and an avocado dancing on the screen. Um, so yeah, so the thing is, I'm gonna probably implement the rest of these off screen because basically there's just 4 of them, uh, based on the address, and they have a different width. Actually, I can probably implement them all now. I'm just going to. There's probably some crazy math I could do with this that would work, but I'm going to. I'm just going to do it the not clever way. That's 1024. But I'll test them off stream because that won't be super fun to watch. And then this one's just 1 per. This is how you do timing on the Atari 2600. Is you Yeah, this is a great opportunity to use math. Um, oh yeah, thank you. I was trying to figure out actually how to do the math to take these values and turn them into these. Is 64 times 64 because 8 times 8 is 64. Is 64 to the 8th 1024? Does that? No. So I don't know if there's an easier way to do that, but I will make this into a match. Can I do this with a little bit of a macro? I believe I can. So if so, we'll do that. We'll do that. Oh, try again. Doing something wrong. Yeah. So you're saying this. Yeah, you're right. Cool, thanks for the help cleaning this up. These can be one-liners, but I think Rust format will take care of that for me. It will not, apparently. Cool. And then default, we're just gonna throw those away, actually. For now. I think this is good. Cool. So make sure this test run again. All right, yeah. So I'm gonna write some. In the meantime, I'm gonna write some tests out for that. I think next stream I'm gonna take a second to integrate this into the existing chip, and then we'll be on to the next thing. There's a lot of coordination that has to happen, especially the TIA, which is the television adapter, like has functions where it like turns the CPU off. It stops running instructions. Yep. You and your great ideas. But yeah, it like uh so then we want whoa. We want 1 8 64 Oh, but I want something here. Um, I'll figure that out. Cool. Yeah, all that works. Yeah, that works. Awesome. Thanks for helping me clean that up. Yeah. So the next thing that happens is the TIA does some stuff, and I think we're going to run into that where it basically pauses the execution of the CPU until the cathode ray beam gets to like the like front of the or like I can't remember exactly where it is. There's a whole diagram. Um, or let me pull that up. Yeah, until it gets to the beginning of this horizontal blank. Or that might technically be the end of the line. I don't remember exactly. It also does it for top to bottom, um, where it sort of like where the beam goes from the bottom left corner to the top right, and you can actually like hit like a set an address and then the CPU will stop running instructions until you get to the next till you get to that point. So that's going to be really interesting to do. And yeah, there's also the thing that like the TIA has 3 ticks per CPU's tick. So it's like I can change the color up to 3 times per CPU cycle. But I think we'll get into that next time. In the meantime, I'm going to go and I'm going to find somebody for us to raid. 1 second. All right, later. Thanks. I always appreciate your help. It's been a while since I was. since I wrote this regularly. Later, Ian. Some other folks doing some Rust projects. There's one in German. Anybody want to go to a German? Looks like Ray March is doing something. Why don't we go?